Hee hee, ha hoo, ha hey. Hi everyone. Thank you so much for coming out today. It's a very surreal day for me, a very crazy day for me. I'm going to give you all a little bit of background before we get started. Perhaps some of you may not be aware of how special this is, and so I'm going to give you a little talk. Last year, on November 4th, I released my first ever feature film. I've been a big film fan for a long time. I care deeply about cinema and all of that, and I put a lot of time and energy and passion, and so did a lot of other very, very talented people help me to bring to life a really fascinating film based on a very tragic part of my life, some 400 odd years ago. And as of right now, that film has been very successful. What we've had, it has been published into a graphic novel. You were able to purchase a film poster and other stuff, and really it was just one of the most incredible parts of my life. And interestingly enough, right after the film came out, I underwent a strange circumstance where some bad stuff happened, and I'm aware I'm supposed to be doing a PR stream, but people did die, and as a result, I looked an awful lot different. What followed was a very strange sequence of events where I tried to come to terms with the fact that everybody knew a lot more about me because of what I chose to reveal in the film, and then because of what wound up happening while the premiere was going on. However, even though at that time I was hurt and afraid of what people would think now that I looked different and acted different and all of that, what has transpired is that I've been accepted not just by you, but also by the people that I work with, and we have found a way to celebrate all of those changes, and have found a way to celebrate what made it so special. So obviously, I would like very much for you to stay here and to watch what we've got to check out. But of course, if you have not seen the film already, I worked very hard on it, and a lot of other talented people worked hard on it, and I think you'll really, really enjoy it. And what's more is that there are another set of streams that you can also watch, which I think are very fascinating and kind of paint a picture of what went through my mind at the time. However, for today, we're not here to talk about that. What we are here to talk about is the fact that we have a collab cafe based on the film. Now, this cafe is something that I was informed about a long, long while ago, and I couldn't believe how lucky I was. I couldn't believe how fortunate I was to be able to have an entire collaboration cafe based exclusively on something that I had worked on and based on a really important and and very personal part of my life and my journey. And today we're going to talk about some of the artwork that's been completed. We're going to talk about the menu, and we're going to talk about some of the stuff that you can do to get involved and enjoy some of the celebration for yourself. All right. Are you guys excited? Are you looking forward to it? So let's talk details. So this is obviously the very first themed cafe based on my movie, and it's going to launch in both Japan and in China. So in Japan, there are going to be 2 stores in Tokyo, which will be in Omotesando and in Ikebukuro. And there will also be one in Osaka and one in Nagoya. All of them will be open from JST on September 12th. So on September 12th, any of you who are able to get to Japan or who live in Japan yourselves, you'll be able to go to any one of these cafes following September 12th, and you'll be able to enjoy the menu items and get your hands on some unique goodies. And in China, we have 2 locations in Shanghai and in Changsha, and they are actually open from today. And you may be able to see, if you've been lurking on social media this morning, that some kindred are already there and have taken pictures of all of the wonderful decorations, and it's a very surreal feeling. It's a very wonderful feeling, and I can't wait to show you more. So, without further ado, I'm just going to quickly check and make sure that I've got it all set up properly. Okay, great. So what we're going to do now is we're going to move over, and I'm going to introduce you guys to some more of the artwork and some of the work that has been done to bring this cafe to life by once again, just like the film, a lot of very, very talented people. So let's get started, shall we? First of all, we have the illustrations. Ooh, look at this. So, first of all, we have 4 brand new original illustrations which have been done by some incredibly talented artists. And first of all, we have this one by Umino-san. And this one I really, really like. So a lot of what we've wanted to do is to depict what I looked like when I underwent my transformation and how different I became. Now, a little known fact, or actually a very well-known fact, one of the most well-known facts about my transformation, is that right now I sort of default out at about 178 centimeters tall. However, following what happened, and I would recommend you watch the film to understand a little bit better. I grew substantially in size and in height to 220 centimeters tall. Those of you who are not who maybe don't have a frame of reference, I was as tall as Shaquille O'Neal for that time, which was very exciting for me. Although it does get a little inconvenient when you wind up walking into walls. I grew a pair of horns, and I grew a pair of wings as well, which do just look fantastic, don't they? And I really like how this has been captured here, and I really like the flames on my kimono, and I really like how this has all been made to look. I think it's wonderful. And it's a very sort of somber, serious look, and what I appreciate so much about the artwork is that it tried to portray many different aspects of who I am as a person and what I was like at that time. So here, I think that this piece is more supposed to represent a lot of the melancholy that I felt at the time, because being so strange and having these giant wings made it difficult for me to leave my home for a very long time, and I was afraid to leave my home for a long time, and having that accurately shown in this piece is really special for me. But moving on, what comes next? Well, also from Umino-san, allow me to have some water. God will do a lot of talking today. Also from Umino-san is a fantastic drawing where we have me also in kimono, but in a slightly different style. I love the winged cranes on the sort of the base of the outfit, and then of course with a slightly more cheeky smile, a slightly more mischievous little smile there. And any of you who know me know that one of my, let's get a little closer. Let's look at this. Let's look at this guy. Look at this. Look at this guy right here, right now. This is a very nice portrait of me because it also is another sort of aspect of who I am. I love to be a bloody prankster. I love to do this kind of thing, and I really like how this has sort of taken that image and it's, made it work for how I think one of the things that I've always struggled with is being a guy of, a very varied personality, like, all real people are, and then, trying to be this incredible character as well. And I think that this finds a good way of blending it with some wonderful artistic detail as well. All right, let's get this guy back in. Let's get this guy back in position. There you go. But what comes next? Now this is another one, and we have another artist involved for these. This is from Giri-san. From Giri-san, we have So this is a very, very close likeness. This is based on the clothing that I was in at the time of my transformation. You can see that red shirt. You might recognize when I'm wearing my white suit, that red shirt is one of the ones that I would wear underneath it. And when I transformed, I was wearing that red shirt and it ripped and it tore. And I wore that same shirt for a long time because, well, I was deeply depressed, let's be honest, and I just didn't really feel like it. But I love this picture so much because, little known fact, actually, one of the things that staff facilitated for me is that these were references that I posed for. And there was something beautiful about learning to feel ashamed of myself in this body and then learning to love the way that I looked and love the way that I felt. And this image depicts me drawing my sword. And something interesting about my sword is that it can come in lots of different sizes, and when I'm smaller, it comes out as a smaller katana, but when I'm really, really big like this, it comes out more of as a nodachi. And something else that's very interesting is that I'm able to draw it from anywhere on the ground. As long as there's flat ground beneath me, I can pull it out from the earth as though it's emerging from hell, and that's kind of what you see with the fire spiraling around it and this wicked smile. I like how I'm kind of reveling in my power here, and it's nice to have felt powerful, for a moment. It's a really special one. I'm a very big fan of this illustration, very, very much. Mouth is getting so dry. Okay, but moving on, What we also have is the final illustration, also from Giri-san, which is very, very special. And what we've got is the mask illustration. And I love this outfit. I love this outfit so much. It's so imaginative. You've sort of got this this kind of surcoat, these buttons. It's got kind of a military vibe, and the this sort of coiling rope, almost like a tail, which I understand is something that before people knew what it would look like when I kind of transformed, some people imagined that I might have had a tail. And I love the hard kind of the metal on the boots and how embroidered the sword is, because the sword does change quite a lot as well. And this costume was incredibly fun to wear, and it made me feel really attractive, let's be honest. And I'm quickly going to zoom in again because I want to highlight one detail on this that I couldn't stop thinking about. If you could just give me one moment to really zoom in on this. How do I, OBS, can you help me understand how to zoom in? There you go. Give me just one moment, guys. Give me just one moment. Give me just one moment here. One moment, please. Just one moment. I want you to take a quick look at, I want you to take a quick look at this in the middle, please. Take a look at this right here. Do you see that? Do you understand how lucky you are to have an Oshi that is this chiseled and to be wearing an outfit that, well, the word escapes me, but I think you know exactly what I'm talking about. This is a really special illustration. I like this one a lot. This is definitely one that I'd be taking home. And I actually, I still have all of these costumes, so hopefully I get to wear them again at some point. And I know that even though since my transformation I've taken enough time and I've shrunk back down into my normal sort of default body, but I know there will come a time when I get to that size again, and hopefully I'll get to wear those costumes some other time. But that's the artwork, and it's beautiful. And of course, well, what does the artwork have to do with the cafe? How is the artwork going to play into the cafe? Well, not only that, but we've also got a wonderful key visual here. Let me get out of the way of this so you can see this. And I love so much that what they've done is focus on the film reel, embracing this project and its identity as a film, because the way the film is made is it's done using still images. That's all I was able to do with the budget that I could pull together. I paid for the entire film myself. And what I love so much is that it's been accepted as a fully fledged film, and seeing the film reel, I love how different this is for us, and I love how much we're able to celebrate how unique that is. And having this, I don't know, as a film fan and as someone who loves movies, this is, again, incredibly special for me. And this was all kind of, I didn't really, it's not that I had a ton of input on the way this went down, but these ideas all came from staff and from the cafes themselves, from our collaboration partners. And I just love how well they understood what would work. It was really, really fantastic. And I'm, again, incredibly grateful for the opportunity. And I really hope that you'll enjoy coming to the cafe and seeing it for yourself. Now, we've got some more exciting stuff to talk about. So, I've got some good news. So, obviously, the cafes are available in both Japan and in China, but I understand there are lots of Hyundred in other parts of the world as well. And so, what I understand staff have been kind of taking a look at some of the discussion on, so just seen there's been oh dear. Okay, we're going to give it a moment. Wait a minute. Okay, wait. I think, is the stream okay, guys? Is the stream okay? Is the stream all right? OBS said I disconnected again. Hold on. It'll be back. Oh dear. OBS keeps saying disconnected and then reconnected. This doesn't normally happen to me. Oh well. It's back? Okay, great. Let me continue. So, before we move on to talk about everything else, what I want to say is that staff are in discussions right now to allow for the sales from the collab to, at a later time, be purchased online, potentially for overseas fans as well. So if you're a fan of any of the merch that you might have seen teased already, then don't worry. If you're not able to make it to the cafes themselves in Japan or China, there is absolutely a chance that you'll be able to purchase the merch separately. So don't worry. We're always thinking about Kindred from all over the world. But speaking of that merch, why don't we take a look at that merch itself, eh? Come on! So first of all, what we've got is some badges, a classic little piece of merch. This is very subtle, it's very small, it's going to go great on maybe a bag or on some clothing to be able to show your support and have a little bit of your favorite merch kind of wherever you'd like it. Maybe you've got a pinboard at home you can stick this on or anything like that. There's a lot of potential for it. What we've also got is some very exciting stuff. We've got these film-style trading cards. So these cards are going to be... the cafe is obviously based on a movie, and so these evoke the style of, like some of the artwork and like the background you can see behind me, evoke the style of some film reel. And it's a really, really nice way of kind of bringing together those two elements of this collab, because we have, obviously, a lot of this collab cafe and a lot of the merch that Any Color likes to put together is very much endemic of the VTuber culture and community, but also by bringing it together with what I've tried to do with this film, marrying those two elements together is really exciting, and I think it's a really important piece of history to own, if you were to ask me. And then next up, of course, we have a sticker, which look like movie tickets, which is so exciting. So any one of the 4 artworks can appear here. It can be like you've got your own little ticket to come and see the film. And I want to go ahead and sort of harken back a little bit to when the film came out and how many kindred from around the world put together screenings for the film when it came out. So fans went out and they actually booked out entire cinemas and they went in big groups to go and watch the film on a big screen. And seeing packed audiences all crowded into these big cinemas watching the film together was really just one of the happiest moments of my life. And, you know I'm never going to forget how lucky I felt. So if you want to be a part of that and you want to have a little film ticket, these stickers are really, really nice, and they're a good way of doing that. So what we've also got is these file folders. So these probably would be a really good way of keeping all of your merch together, although another time when I was in Japan just earlier this year, I did have a file folder of a similar style, and I tried keeping some stuff in there, and I'm very clumsy, so it all fell out, but I'm sure that you'll be able to keep stuff in there nice and neatly. And we've got some really nice sort of flame motifs on here to accompany the artwork, and some lovely kind of golden blossoming motifs as well, all of which, go very, very well with the artwork. So if you have some of the other merch, I think this is going to be a nice way of keeping them all together. And who knows, by organizing your files, maybe many of you going to university, going to work, maybe you need to keep some papers together. This might be a nice way of doing that. And of a classic, it's a classic, the acrylic stands. We have four brand new acrylic stands for you to collect. And I know a lot of you have your shrines. I know a lot of you have your merch shelves with all kinds of different merch on them, all kinds of acrylic stands, all stood at varying heights all around the desk. And these are, you better have a lot of room, okay? Maybe you're going to need a new desk. Maybe you're going to need a new shelf, because these are 4 brand new acrylic stands that you can put down to celebrate the new artwork as well. And following on, what we've got is this lovely phone tab with a shoulder strap. So what you're going to be able to do is, if you have with a clear phone case, you're going to be able to have this artwork, and you're going to be able to show it off, as well as a nice shoulder strap to make sure that you keep your phone safe, or really to keep the artwork safe, because really the phone itself is the case for the artwork. The phone is a secondary piece that you would use to protect the artwork itself. But, I'm not here to help educate you on your priorities. I understand you probably already knew that. I'd also like to apologize if I'm talking very, very fast. That is just something that I've gotten used to doing over the years. I am a very fast talker by nature, and I'm doing my best because all of you, from what I'm to understand, apparently I am literally the final boss of English learning. Very difficult to understand for non-English speakers, but knowing as well that we have so many fans in Japan, China, and in other places overseas that have made so much progress in their English because they want to understand me is just as heartwarming as anything I could imagine. So it's really nice in that way. But I am going to try to slow down just a hair. I am going to slow down just a hair. Oh boy. My microphone keeps dropping. There we go. Okay. Next up, what we've got is something very, very interesting. What we've got is some original cards. So, for those of you who make reservations, now these are only available for those who visit the cafe. So these are some bonus gifts that you can get for no extra cost when you visit the cafe. So if you make a reservation, then you will be entitled to one of these cards. They're going to be cold foiled and they're going to have a soft sheen. And I love kind of the shiny, almost golden flames that you can see here. It makes them feel very valuable, very unique. So these are going to be some very exclusive items, and they're going to be difficult to obtain, let's say. So if you are able to come to the cafe, then when you make your reservation, you can be very excited and look forward to getting a hold of one of these. Now, next up, we have, of course, anyone who orders drinks at the cafe, you'll be able to get one of these lovely paper coasters. And so if you order any of the drinks that I'm about to show you, we've got a very, very interesting menu that's very inspired. And if you order any of the drinks from that menu, then you'll be able to get one of these coasters. And of course, maybe you fancy collecting them all. Well, time to order a bunch of drinks. Get all your friends. Come out. Let's have a ton of different drinks. And these drinks, I'm going to be honest, they are very easy to, they're very, I'm going to teach you a new word, Moorish. More as in more of something-ish, more-ish, as in you have one, ooh, let me just have one more. You could easily have a couple more, and these drinks are very, very tasty. So that is it for the merch. It's all based on this wonderful artwork that's been completed, and you'll see it plastered all over the walls, as we'll be taking a look at in just a little bit. But before then, I'm going to have a drink of water. And then what we're going to do is take a look at the menu itself. So it's inspired by the film. And what it manages to be is inspired by specific locations, events, and sort of themes from the film, which is incredible. And I can't wait to show it to you. So let's take a look, shall we? So here we have a traditional Japanese curry. So, for those of you who are not aware, The Demon Hungers is a film that is set at right after the close of Japan's Sengoku period. It's in the early 1600s, around about 1619, 1620. And what we've got here is a very authentic, a traditional Japanese curry, and it's inspired, obviously, by the film. So what you can see here is that the curry is actually hidden underneath the rice. So you have a lovely bowl of rice sat on top of a really, really delicious traditional curry. And you've got a very tasty set of your own toppings as well, including lotus fruit, tomato, and quail egg, which I'm a big fan of. I'm a big fan of all of these things, and I'm sure that you're really going to like them as well. And what I would really like to draw attention to is just how great the crockery and the design of the plateware is here. I mean, especially I'm a really big fan of the pot for the soup stock. It's very evocative of that time period, and something that I remember from that time. And if anything, looking at this fills me with a lot of nostalgia. It's something that I miss, and I hope that I get to see all of you enjoying a lot of this, and maybe I'll feel reminded of some curries that I've enjoyed throughout my very, very long life. Now next, after I have some water, yes, it's tomato. While I lived in Japan at the time that the film took place back in the 1600s, I have been living in the UK for almost the past 100 years. It will be 100 years as of next year, so remember, tried and true, I am a Brit, really. It has made, and in Britain, we pronounce it tomato. Anyway, next up, we have a really interesting one, and this is, I think, what sets this collab cafe apart. It's incredibly unique. So what we've got here is the black pasta. Ooh, look at this. So this is garlic pasta, and it features, or garlic sauce pasta. Listen to me going on about being British, and I say pasta. pasta. And it features eye-catching red and black colors with a garlic sauce. And this is what I love so much because the Demon Hungers features a very specific and deliberate color palette of just white, black, and red. And what I love so much about this is that it's a delicious meal, but what it does is it has this eerie, sort of dark feel to it. And what you've got to understand about the Demon Hungers is that it's based on a very tragic story from a really dark part of my life. And this meal, I think, represents that in a really interesting way. So it must have been a really unique challenge for coming up with the menu items when how do we come up with a place that's fun and, tasty to go with your friends that also accurately shows, the film for all of its themes. And this is a really sort of strange, surreal, but also inviting looking dish that speaks to the color palette of the film and also kind of brings about a very sort of bizarre feeling, I think, that kind of immerses you in the film's world as well. Also, something else that I've been told is that they are going to be showing, or rather over the intercom, they're going to be playing the Demon Hungers soundtrack in the cafes, which is very exciting. The film, as you may or may not know, has an entirely original soundtrack of about 18 original songs, including a few bonus tracks that were composed by my friends Diego, mostly Diego, but also a couple tracks by Unit Zero as well. And so you'll get to hear that when you're enjoying your food. Next up, we have the, again, tomato stew. So this is inspired by the film again, and the color palette of the film, so you can enjoy it with the baguette on the side. And again, this is a very interesting sort of, a very interesting dish with a really interesting color palette, and I love especially the black baguette. Me personally, I love a little bit of crispiness when I have some toast, but this is really nice, soft, warm bread, and I think it's going to, again, bring about a really strange feeling because it looks burnt, right? But this is a very lovely, soft piece of bread that you'll be able to dip and enjoy your tomato stew with. So again, what I love most about art and about films is its way to bring about unique feelings and unique emotions. And I think that what the Demon Hungers strive to do is to bring about an experience that helps you understand what it has been like for me to live through the last few years of my life. I've also noticed that the logo is hidden behind the PowerPoint, and I'm going to move that. I want you all to see the lovely logo that they've created. Where is the logo? Logo, I'm going to move you up. Logo, activate your logo mode. Or is it just a part of the back? It's just part of the background. Okay, never mind. Never mind, it's just a part of the background. That's fine. So, in a sense, what I like about these menu items having such unique presentation is that they are able to bring you into my world in a way where, if anything, what I would say, given the themes of hunger and the themes of hungering for something that brings about darker feelings, I think that it may help you feel a little bit more like a demon as well. No spoilers for the film if you haven't seen it already, but there's a very dark quality to the way that a demon feels hunger, and I would recommend, watching the film with a strong stomach because it can get pretty dark at times. However, not quite so. Also, forgot to mention, but there is some lovely cream cheese on the side as well. See, isn't this so surreal? Next up, we have something not quite as dark, something very sweet as well. We have the Demon Parfait. Oof, 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 oof. And what you can see there, stuck into the little bit of so we have a chocolate and berry parfait inspired by the one and only Vox Akuma, and stuck right in the top there, you can see my little horns. So my horns that I have right now look very different. These are a part of a costume where these horns would have emerged at a time when I felt very confident, very self-assured, and I would have undergone a very minor transformation that would allow me to bring out these sleek, evenly spaced horns. However, earlier or sort of late last year when I transformed, I was in a state of great emotional disrepair, and they emerged in a jagged, violent state. And portraying that on a nice, delicious treat is a very strange thing, but I think it looks really delicious. It's very cute, isn't it? And now, I understand a lot of you have seen this on social media. And this is a real fan favorite. Behold, the Demon Waffle. So I told you that the menu was inspired by themes from the film, but this is inspired by a very specific scene and location. So for those of you who aren't aware, back in 1614 through to 1616, I had a castle with a clan of my own, and during the wars that unified Japan, my castle was besieged. And it was destroyed. But what I didn't tell you originally was that Tokugawa Ieyasu's army had arrived not to selfishly destroy my people, but had actually come to try and slay me. And this is what you can see right here, is that in a form that was much larger than what I transformed to back in November, I was towering over some 10 feet tall at the time of the battle, standing over the edge of the cliff. You can see me on the top, and that little edible card there being impaled on the blade of Tokugawa Ieyasu before the fall, very nearly to my death down the cliff. And this waffle inspires that. And I asked myself a very interesting question when they showed me this. I asked myself, how interesting would it be if I went back in time to myself as I slowly healed from my wounds in a cave by the ocean at the very base of that cliff. And I went to myself and I said, hey, I know this is deeply traumatic for you and that this moment will haunt you for the rest of your life. But in 2024, they are going to make a waffle out of this moment. Very interesting and fascinating, but I love, especially, I think thematically, what this manages to do is it speaks to the journey that I've had to make when introducing this side of myself to you, because I can't afford to be sad all the time. And for a little while after the film came out, I was sad all the time. And I think that a dessert like this kind of forces me to look at my circumstances with some humor and some levity. And I really enjoy it for that. It's a serious moment, but it's been turned into something quite delicious. And I think that really, if anything, that's a nice metaphor for what I'm trying to do in taking parts of my history and turning them into something that you can all dig into and have some fun with. So it's got a lovely chestnut cream, which has a very traditional Japanese taste, which would, of course, evoke a lot of the flavors and sensations of the time in which the film was set. And now we have the black lemonade. Ooh, very nice. This one's going to be really, really tasty. So this is a non-carbonated lemonade with a grapefruit topping, and it looks like a full moon. If you watch the film, what you can see at the film's intro, the titles appear over an enormous red moon, and also at the during one of the final scenes of the film, where we have a nightmarish flashback to the events that took place at my castle on the night of its destruction. It's all set against this enormous dark red moon. And having this lovely non-carbonated lemonade inspired, with that red moon represented by the grapefruit, it's just, again, surreal is the right word for it to describe it for me. And what's interesting is the black color comes from bamboo charcoal. So based on the film setting, we have a lot of really fascinating sort of Eastern motifs, and I really, really enjoy that. So next up, we have the red soda for those who want some bubbles. So if you want a fizzy drink, because the last one, the black lemonade, is non-carbonated. However, this is carbonated, in fact. This is a berry-flavored soda based on the movie's iconic red and black colors. So pretty simple, this one, but still brings out a really nice color that will match the ideas and themes of the project itself. So it's going to blend right in, and it's going to have a really, really nice berry flavored flavor. And now this next one I really, really enjoy. This is the Grey Latte with whipped cream and, of course, the cafe logo decoration on the top. And once again, we have the bamboo charcoal for the grey color. I really, really like this, and it's got just lovely. I love the crispness on that logo printed on the top. It's very, very special. It's very beautiful. I really, really like the way that this looks, and I'm a big coffee fan myself. Normally a decaf, coffee person myself, but if you're in the need for a little bit of caffeine in the afternoon or whenever it is you choose to go to the collab cafe, then I'm sure you're going to be able to enjoy this very much. Now, we don't have images for these, but also available, there is going to be a very basic list of some other things that you can enjoy, like soft drinks. So in addition to what I've shown you, you'll be able to get hot or iced tea, hot or iced coffee. You're going to be able to get some cola, ginger ale, and orange juice. However, also what is nice to know is that you can still receive the paper coasters if you would like to purchase a generic soft drink rather than one of the collab cafe items. So if you're not particularly in the mood for anything like this, then don't worry, you can still receive your coaster with the purchase of any drink while in store. And so what we have here is a preview of how the stores of how the cafes are going to look. So this is going to be, what I'm going to show you now, this is a preview, so it's not got the decorations up yet, but in the Omotesando location in Tokyo, this is what it's going to roughly look like. And I mean, come on, guys! Look at this, guys! I sat down one day a couple of years ago and I decided I think that I should make a film about that time when everything went down bad for me. And some years later, 2 years later, a cafe, many cafes in Japan and China are coated in decoration commemorating that film. And I just have to sit back. Excuse me, goodness me. I just have to sit back and appreciate God. How lucky am I? How lucky am I to be in this position, but also how lucky am I to have you, who are the ones who made everything possible? Because there is no way that this would have happened were it not for your incredible, passionate response to the film itself. You have changed my life, and I want to pay that back to you 10,000-fold. I want to thank you over and over again, because this is just the craziest thing I've ever seen. This is just the craziest thing I've ever seen. So we've got a little bit of time. So what I'm going to talk about is a little bit more about the film itself. So can I get a show of hands? How many of you have not seen the film? Can you type 1 in chat if you have not seen the film? Just let me know, because I'm curious. I'm sure that the vast majority of you have. See, we've got a few. No, it's all right. It's all right. So what I'm going to say is that there's a lot of stuff that I probably talk about. Yeah, we got a lot of 2s. I know a lot of you have seen it. But if you're interested in coming to the cafe, and if you're interested in, regularly watching me as a streamer, I'd really recommend watching it, because the 3. What is that like? Is that like a repeat watch kind of thing? But the film has subtitles available in both Japanese and Chinese, and it's a passion project that I worked on for a very long time. It's got a curious presentation where it's based on still images, kind of with speech bubbles, almost like a motion comic style. But there is a scene in there, a scene that took a lot of extra time and effort. That features a lot of animation as well. And it's got a very distinct style, it's got a very distinct vision, and it's got wonderful music. And if you want to understand more about me, more about why I am the way I am, then I couldn't recommend it enough. And I can't imagine that you could come to this cafe and not at least be a little curious to know about the film that inspired it. And in actuality, what you can see is on the back of the wall, you have the artwork that's been done for the collab, but on the walls with the film reel, you can see frames and stills from the film. So you can see on the right-hand side, we have me in my normal, much smaller form, and then me hulked out and going crazy. On the right-hand side, you have an image of my castle in smoke. You have an image of Tokugawa drawing his sword on the left-hand side as well. There's a lot to watch, and there's a lot to enjoy about it. And then once you watch that, I have another film called Minotaur, which came out just a couple of months ago, which I'm also very proud of. So there's a lot to watch if you haven't gotten around to that yet. But we have a fun little activity, actually. We have a fun little activity that I would like to share with you. So let's take a quick little gander, shall we? So we have all the menu items laid out here, right? Menu items laid out. And what I would like to do is I'd like to ask you, based on the different artworks that you've been shown today, which one of them, if we were to pair these into groups of 2 based on the column, so on the left-hand side, the curry with the latte, the pasta with the soda, the stew with the black lemonade, and the demon waffle with the parfait, which of the artworks would hunger, Which demon hungers for what? So first of all, we're going to go back to this lovely piece by Umino-san. Which one do you guys think this guy, when I'm feeling like this, when I've got that melancholic look, when I've got a little bit of fire in my hand and a serious look in my eye, what kind of thing would I like to eat? When I look at this, I see a version of myself that is very full of himself. I see a version of myself that is very serious and that is kind of incapable of joking. He is intimidating, and if anything, I think that he's doing his best to look down to you. It's as though, at the time, what I ran into was trying to get people to understand what I had been going through and was met with some strange responses. I confess to a lot of bad things that I've done in my life, but was met with, no, it's okay, and I think that this guy is the kind of person who would hear that and kind of look down on you with disdain. I'm seeing a lot of 1s and some 3s as well. If you had to ask me, I would say I would go probably for the, number 3 for this one. Because the tomato stew has, these sort of, it's almost reminiscent of blood, and the black lemonade has such a powerful visual motif for the red moon of the fated night near the end of the film that I can't help but feel like kind of dwelling on a little bit of that sadness is exactly what this costume sort of evokes. So for me at least, I've seen a lot of votes for 3, and I think I'm going to go ahead and put that one down there. However, which one next? Well, of course, the other piece of artwork by Umino-san is this one, this cheeky little smile here. So which one do we think this one would go for? This, to me, is kind of like, if I had to think for a second, I think that when I'm wearing this face, when I've got this kind of outfit on, I'm like, signature look of superiority, all that kind of thing. To me, this looks like someone who is full of the spirit of a little bit of adventure. This is a person who likes to experiment, and this is a person who wants to kind of try new things and is kind of owning this strange new body and wants people to know that he is unique. And I think for me, I'm seeing a lot of votes for 2. And for me, I think 2 is the right one for this look. I really like how, because for this, what I think you've got is, there's a special thing about number 2 with the black pasta and the red soda is that it's a really nice sort of carbonated beverage with a really visually expressive, unique piece of pasta. And I like how, I feel like if I've got this kind of mischievous glint in my eye, what I would probably be doing is, analyzing that and understanding sort of the dark implications, but still, really enjoying some good food. However, moving on. Now this one, I feel like this is a no-brainer. Yeah! This is a scrungly bungly bastard. This is a absolute chaotic piece of garbage. This is a guy who is about to go sicko mode, and this is a guy who is full of energy, and he is about to take off the ground and fly straight into the side of a cliff and die. I live for being this way. I live for having this kind of thing. And it brings a tear to my eye to see the exact look that I had paired with so much sadness to be portrayed in a way that is so full of life and so full of wonder. And I think, if anything, juxtaposing the image of a body that I was in when I felt so forlorn and so sad, and having such a look of excitement and laughter, that I think has to go with the demon waffle. I can see no other companion for that than A guy who will have 2 desserts. The demon parfait and the demon waffle together. This man is having 2 desserts. He is filling himself with sugar, and he is going to be up all night long. This guy does not know what his bedtime is. He is too busy pulling his sword out of the ground and then putting it back. But lastly, that of course leaves this gentleman here. And I think that this fits because, if anything, I'm going to zoom in on this one again. I'm a really big fan of this artwork. I'm going to zoom in again on this because this, I mean, very serious, very looking down on you, as I often like to do. But what we've also got is, I think, with this mask, let's be honest, right? The mask represents a bit of mystique. The mask, what's the point of the mask, eh? The mask represents a little bit of secrecy. It's about how, it's sort of a double-ended metaphor, because you've got how I, for a long time, hid behind a mask and tried to portray myself as a very fun, happy-go-lucky, suave gentleman, when in reality there's a lot more darkness to me. However, in a sense as well, then after that, it almost felt like I wore this mask of a terrifying demon, when really, there's a lot more to me than that as well. However, in practical terms, this mask gives the opportunity to do one thing: to hide eye bags when you've been up all night. And I stay up all night quite a lot. I'm a very busy bee. I have lots of stuff to do, and if I'm getting to the Collab Cafe early in the morning, I'm going to be in the mood for a grey latte like this gentleman. And I think he would be deeply in need for a coffee and a nice, nutritious curry that's going to be very delicious with some lovely soup stock as well. I think that's pretty fitting. I really like the way we've laid these out. And doesn't this just look great? We've got a nice little kind of photo card here with all of the different things that you can look forward to with the collab. Why is number 3 is small? Because I am sat down. Because I am sat down in this pose. Number 3 is very small because I'm sat down in this pose. And if I made him the same size, he would be, well, I'll make myself a little bigger here. Make this artwork a little bigger. But you know what I mean. In fact, yeah, this just makes this one look really small. I'm gonna make you a little bigger as well. You can have a little more. But there we are. And then I guess I better make this one big. Listen. This doesn't matter. We've already figured it out. These guys are gonna be, this is four copies of myself. They're all gonna go on a nice little outing to one of the collab cafes. They're gonna enjoy some lovely food, and they're all going to bond over their shared trauma, because every one of these drinks and every one of these meals is based on a time from which I was deeply and utterly traumatized. But that doesn't matter anymore, because I've got this and I've got you. And that is the important part, isn't it? That's what matters again. So, at the end of the day, all I have to say is how grateful I am that this project could happen at all. Believe me, I am not lost on just how special it is that I get the chance to do this. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys the key visual again while I kind of finish up my thoughts. We've got a good little thing there, which there we go. We've got the artwork on screen. So this is the most wonderful opportunity, and I'm aware that I worked very, very hard to bring the film to life, but this is something that I did for myself, for my love of film, and really out of honor for the love that I've been shown by all of you, because you helped me live the closest thing to a normal human life that I've ever been able to live. If you haven't seen it, there's a stream that I did moments after The Demon Hungers premiered, where I showed you all this form of mine for the first time. And when there, I sort of elaborated a bit on why it is that, because it's a little silly to think about, right? It's a little silly to think about. Why is this 400-plus-year-old demon with thousands of kills under his belt and all of this power and all of this trauma, why is he playing video games online with NIJISANJI? Well, the simple answer to that is that if you watch the film, you'll come to understand that it's very dangerous for me to let myself get too close to human beings, and yet I really love human beings. All of you are human beings, and you have changed my life. But up until recently, I lived for a very long time when communication, instant communication via the internet across vast spaces was impossible. But it's with the internet and it's with NIJISANJI that I have been connected with all of you, and I can connect with you in a way that I know I will never be able to bring you harm. And that is what makes this so special for me. It's why when I stream, I always say that I miss you, because without you, I am alone. And that is something that I can't really change too much. I have to be careful. And so what I'd like for all of you to think about is when you go to this collab cafe, I understand a lot of you might be going alone. A lot of you might be going with groups of friends. If you, and you don't have to do this, but if you're going as a big group of kindred and you're going to the collab cafe to enjoy the food and you see someone who's enjoying it by themselves, do me a favor, and you don't have to, but try and go and talk to them. And you might just make a friend for life. Because what I like and what I want you to all do is that I wouldn't want any of you to have to experience what it's like to be this lonely without good reason. Unlike me, you aren't dangerous to people. No matter what you might think, no matter what you might feel, you are not dangerous in the way that I am, and you can only make other people's lives brighter by being in them. So, once again, a reminder that the Collab Cafe has already started in the locations in China, which are, let me make sure I get the names absolutely right so I don't mispronounce them. In Shanghai and in Changsha, the locations in China are already open, so you can go and visit those as soon as you like. And in Japan, they will be open in Obotesendo and Ikebukuro in Tokyo, as well as Osaka and Nagoya. So if you want to go to any of those locations and you want to meet up with other kindred, you want to celebrate the film, you want to celebrate me and get your hands on some exclusive merch, then please come and check out the Vox Akuma Cafe, The Demon Hungers. That's going to do it all for me. That's all I have to say. But think about what I said. Think about what I said, okay? You've got a chance to make some friends for life here. You've got a chance to meet each other. You've got a chance to have a real magical experience. So what I'd like to say is be kind to one another, make friends with one another, and remember how blessed you are to have been born human in a world that allows you to live peacefully and to make friends and to really do whatever you like with each other. There's nothing to worry about like I have to worry about it, so don't let me catch you slacking off. That'll do it all for me. And I am going to see you all in just over 2 hours. I'm going to do a stream again in a little bit. But before then, make sure that you check out the Collab Cafe, and if you haven't already, go ahead and make your reservations. So obviously the one more thing, so online sales of the merch are under discussion, so please wait for more information about that, but I'm sure they really want to get all of that out and ship them overseas to everybody, so be patient, and I'm sure that that will be a possibility in the future. So thank you very much, everyone. That was a very surreal stream to do, but I'm so glad that I got to do it. I'm going to go and drink a ton of water because my mouth is very dry, and then I'm going to see you all in a couple of hours for another stream. Thank you all again so much for having made my life the wonderful and insane journey that it has been, and I will see you all at the cafe. But what does this demon hunger for? Me, I'm thinking about that waffle. Thanks very much, everyone. I love you. Seriously. I'll see you in a little bit. Bye-bye.